Went golfing yesterday. It was a nice day.
Did you beat the course? The course beat you.
To the airfield, and I'll tell you, my wife and I did, our kids were a bunch of foursome. I was watching them and I said, oh my God, we should take them on for some night. I thought I was bad, but I seen some crappy players.
Don't stretch it.
At least you
But they were all having fun,
This is my first meeting post.
you know, so
You look more mature.
You feel like you wanna go to sleep earlier now? Ready? Chief, you ready? All right. We'll call this meeting to order. Common Council, July 11, 2022. We posted.
Yes.
All right, roll call.
Brian? Here. Roger? Schulte?
Here.
Gargano?
Here.
Me? Here. Friends?
Here.
Knudsen?
Here.
Stevenson?
here,
Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so as everyone probably remembers, the mayor is on vacation, so I'm filling in from tonight, and I'm filling in as a alder, not as the mayor, so I will be voting. So the council will receive information on non-agenda topics brought before the council by members of the public. The council will not discuss these topics and will not take action on any of them at this meeting. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? All right, hearing none, we'll go to consent agenda. One motion approves all items. Approve minutes for the meeting held on June 27, 2022. Approve deny June 2022 paid bills and receive the June 2022 building permit report.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mike,
Second.
second by Jason. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, general business. Approve, deny, authorize the city administrator to proceed with contracting with Beerbecker for amendment number 3 in tax incremental district number 9. Tim.
Okay, thanks, Tom. So there's been a couple of companies in our current 9 area, former 4, that are interested in expanding. And it really only makes sense to them financially if they're able to do it with some incentives through our TID. So what I'd like to do is get your permission to check with Beerbecker to examine the possibilities of going forward with that, to see what amendment would look like. Try to attract more parcels into that amendment and possibly delete some if needed. So this is a step in a long process. I attached the schedule to your packets, and you can see that this is step 1 in about a 14 to 15 step process. So I guess with that, I'll take any questions.
I have one for you, Tim.
Yes.
So once we have a TID and we do an amendment, does it make it easier to add things if we do a subtraction? Or is it net?
It does make it a little bit easier because we do have to worry about the net.
Too big.
Yeah, the net equalized value, but we're nowhere near that right now. It would just make sense to us to remove parcels if they weren't going to be used the way that we think they're going to be used or thought they were going to be used. So that's the only time that you would do that.
Dave?
Tim, for the benefit of our new members, would you explain briefly about the TID amendment process that we're limited?
Sure. So we have a total of 4 TIDs that we're able to, or we have a total of 4 amendments that we're able to make per TID. This particular TID, we've done 2 amendments already. This would be the 3rd, which means we have 1 more left. The expenditure period expires in 2032. So there's 10 years left to make another amendment if we need to. So we're normally very careful about this. We just amended the TID last year, but we didn't know about these 2 businesses that were coming up kind of the pipeline. And we'd like them to expand here rather than expand somewhere else.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Tim? Otherwise, we'll take a motion.
move to approve.
Motion by Tom,
I'll second that.
second by Adam. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. All right, number 2, approve, deny counteroffer on city-owned parcel 276-2201-00000, generally located west of the Popple Trail. Tim?
Okay, you guys had this before you last meeting and you approved the potential of a sale after a CSM divided the property in half. As it turns out, as Brian had suggested at the last meeting, we cannot CSM that property without a public access to it. So Gatlin is here proposing to purchase the entire 21.44 acres for $26,800. I guess, Gatlin, do you have anything?
Printed off 7 copies, so not quite enough, but a few of you can share. This is just a map of the Popple Trail. I went out there today after you'd sent me some of those questions. And I took pictures of the Popple Trail map. I couldn't find one online. And I did the Onyx Hunt Trail Tracker to track my path along the westernmost trail called the Hay Meadow Trail, just to make sure that there was no conflict between. Anyone else they could share? So page 1 is the Popple Trail map. Page 2 is the Onyx Hunt Trail Tracker that shows where I walked today on that westernmost trail. Page 3 is the parcel map showing the Popple Trail and the parcel in question. And so the concerns were if there's any interference with the Popple Trail, and there's not. The Popple Trails are south and east of the parcel in question. And another question that Mr. Becker had was who installed the gate at that north access point? I have no idea. It's been there for as long as I can remember. The second question was who mowed the trail? And I noticed also that it was mowed. I don't know who mowed that either. I didn't know if that was something that Lakeside Foods had done just historically in the past because they had drainage going to the Bear River from those treatment ponds when they were in use. So maybe it's just a habit that they haven't broken yet. I don't know who mows those trails. And that's about all I know. So.
And do you have anybody, are you aware of anybody that accesses that at all?
No.
Because there's like, I think there's 4 locks that are on there, so I assume there's 4 different people
Yeah.
that are going back there.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I put one of the locks on there 2 weeks ago because I wanted to get back there with my ranger to drop off some kayaks to see if we could actually use it to access the Bear River.
Mhm.
So one of the locks is mine.
Okay.
Well, what's everyone's thoughts on this? As the chair of Parks and Rec, I didn't have a huge issue with the original one. Most of that property was west of the ditch. Was not easily accessible. I'm talking with Matt. I'm a little more concerned now with the entire parcel because it does come back. And I think we've had a pretty good effort by Matt and his crew to continue to expand our trail system in the city. And being that the properties to the east of the ditch is certainly more easily accessible without across that. It's tough for the city to get more recreation land. So that's my big concern about the parcel sale. I have some separate issues about the concerns that Tim brought up with the email about, there's a private property, no trespassing sign on the city land, and the access by, people on there behind that gate. If you look on Onyx, you can see just below the ponds of Lakeside that somebody mowed last year vertically, probably taking down some invasive brush or something. But the fact that that stuff's happening on the city land without Matt or Steve's crews doing it is totally troubling. And I understand the old road, that could be something that goes back to Lakeside, but you can clearly see where somebody was mowing last year, south of Lakeside Foods property, which is on this parcel. So that's my thoughts on the sale. Is it does limit our further expansion of the trails in the Popple area. I think that we kind of look at these things as two separate issues, the sale and then not the sale, then what's going on back there.
That driveway off of V, is that the one where the gate is, that with the lots? So that's a private drive there.
There's like a hunting shack or something that's out there too, right? Is that?
Correct.
Okay. Who owns that?
It's a group of 15 guys. I'm one of them.
Oh, okay.
It's at the first 90-degree curve where the road turns to the south. And it sits on a 1 acre parcel. 4 of the members of the hunt club own different parcels surrounding. Tom Rust is one of them. He owns the land just north of the city, which is just west of, I forget his name. It's sandwiched in between the parcel that I would like to buy and another privately owned parcel. But that one happens to be in the township of Reedsburg. And the acres that we purchased is really not much of a concern for us. We'd be willing to let the city keep expanding their trails up to the ditch or something, if that would be a provision the city would be interested in. The reason we would like to own it, multiple reasons. Agricultural use for one. There's a field where I could grow some wheat on the north end of the property. And there's the access to the Variable River that we'd be able to utilize for our triathlon. And we would be able to make improvements to the property, put the property back on the tax roll. And then there's also the bridge that connects to my mother's property that we would be interested in improving someday and assuming the liability for. When back in high school, I used to hike back on the popple trails and traverse that bridge over to my mom's house. So that right now it might be a liability for the city of Reedsburg to own part of that bridge. We'd be assuming that and putting it back on the tax rolls.
You said grow wheat, right?
No questions.
Yeah. Could we make those as provisions in the sale?
That would be,
Have you ever had an opportunity to expand the trails? I don't know if we expand a trail on privately owned property.
Yeah.
You would probably-
Right of first refusal or something to maintain the opportunity.
So I think what happens right now is that because it's before the council on what is proposed, if there's some changes to be made, it might make sense to, at this point, decline it if that's the position to take and have some further discussion or talk to Parks and see if you guys can work out specific details. Make it a little cleaner, but you could make a motion to add or subtract to the counteroffer if you want to do that here. Seems like we're kind of in a negotiation mode at this point.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
The CSM requirement, that's our ordinance, correct?
It's a county ordinance as well, I think.
Is there,
That's where the holdup was.
and there is no variance process for that?
At the county level, I don't know, Brian.
Not the county level.
No?
Not them work.
You own the private road?
No,
You have no ownership and or easement rights on that?
no. Well, to the hunt club, but that's further north. So we're familiar with the owners of the easement road, so we would, subsequent to the sale, attempt to get legal access to the parcel. We have friendly handshake access to the parcel in the meantime. But I think it's also important to point out that the city parcel south of parcel in question has probably at least 8 acres or more that could be utilized for trail expansion.
So the property improvement enhancements you were speaking of, like what kind of things were you thinking of?
I'd like to make a picnic site back there, just someplace to use when we're using the landing, maybe a pavilion.
So are you thinking the landing where the old bridge,
Somewhere close.
somewhere right around there?
Yes.
Well, as chair of parks, I can say that the committee would be very interested in, developing some kind of partnership to further along, the idea and concept of improvements there and the triathlon and, I can't speak for all the voting members, but I think we've been more than excited about getting more different, types of recreation out there. And this would be something new. I guess my thoughts are to keep it with the city, but if we could come up with some kind of partnership with you and that your entity, we would be, I think, more than willing to do what we can for that.
So you don't view a sale to a neighboring resort to develop the property for recreation as a partnership?
But then we lose control.
You would also gain a tax base.
Yeah, we're limited to what we can expand for our recreation property to get more of it. So the tax roll it's an incentive, but
It's a couple $100 a year.
Well, when I hiked the trails today, I mean, they're not used even that much, and there's room for expansion. So I feel like it's just unused, wasted land right now, and there's probably not gonna be anybody ever interested in purchasing it. It's not even gun huntable property, so I think this is the opportunity to sell it. We probably would not be interested in any sort of partnership, so my offer's on the table.
So if I could, just from a procedural standpoint, we look at the counteroffer and the counteroffer indicates that it's subject to committee and city council approval as required. And it doesn't say that it has to happen within a time certain, okay? So you could have this sent to Public Works Committee, review, and if they can come up with some different terms, we can do another counteroffer, keeping this open. We could also get the title evidence ordered to find out if there's any specific easements. That just hasn't happened yet. And we can do that without having to accept or reject this offer if it goes back to committee. And I'm a little hesitant to see negotiating at this stage.
If I could ask on that, we don't have title back yet to know if there's right of ways, easements, or the ditch that runs through there, as I understand it, and I apologize, it's been many years since I've been back in there. But that is the ditch that comes from the old Reedsburg Foods ponds area, is it not? That's the main drainage.
There is a force main that runs through there.
So there,
Pipe from those ditches. That would be lakeside. We don't own the force main, but I would assume there's an easement through there for that force main. That's why the road is there.
I hate to take action on assumption. I'll make the motion that we table or we send this back to Parks for further consideration.
I'll second that.
all right, so we have a motion by Dave and a second by Greg to table this for now and send it back to Parks. Is that correct?
I believe that's the place it should probably go.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Gatlin, will you be available at the next Parks meeting?
Tomorrow, next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow?
Yes.
And
Steve, do you think you'd be able to find out from Lakeside about the easement?
I can check, and Derek and I can look, see if we can find it.
I'll get ahold of the title company and just order it up.
So 5:15, right here?
No,
No, we're meeting at Nishan next week.
Oh, that's right, we're meeting at the shelter by the memorial on the south end.
Tuesday, 5:15.
Yep.
I'll send you an email.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you. All right, go back to all right, that's the end of general business. First meeting committees, Jason, historic preservation.
I wasn't prepared. We just met tonight. We talked about a couple projects we have in the works. We did get official notice, right, Brian, that we are now nationally recognized as a CLG community. So another step forward in that process. And we're applying for some grants right away. So hopefully that we hit this next cycle and can get moving forward.
Any other committees, commissions that we forgot about? All right, Tom, what do you got to say?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
nothing tonight, thank you.
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing tonight, Derek.
No, thank you.
Come on, Jacob.
I have a thing or two.
You do.
I do.
You never do.
Well, no, right? Just information, we are looking for committee members for airport, CDA, Reedsburg Area Development Council, and Zoning Board of Appeals. So if you know anyone who's interested in providing some assistance to those committees, please let me know. I'll get them the application and we can go from there. The mayor.
Jason.
Nothing tonight.
Greg?
Nothing.
All right, well, everybody enjoy July, and before we know it, it'll be August. So there we go.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Mike, second by Craig. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Putting up.
Turn the recorder.